Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got to talk about AI. AI for music, that is. Not the crazy James Cameron AI where we're all going to die because of Cyberdyne systems. AI is good, very good. I wrote this episode over a year ago. I wrote it in April last year, but I never got round to recording it. I didn't think it would be something that people would want to watch. And then I noticed that another YouTuber put one out. So I thought, why not my version too? Okay, today I'm going to analyze two songs, a country song and a pop dance tune. Now, that's how I'm identifying them. I want you to listen to them and decide what type of music genre they fall into. I want you to also listen with a critical ear, like you're a publisher at a song screening. I used to go to song screenings when I was a member of a songwriting organization. And I used to pitch songs to publishers. And they would generally listen to a verse and a chorus. Sometimes they'd listen to the whole song if they really liked it. And then they would decide whether they were going to take the song or not. Now, I had some songs taken, never got a cut, signed some contracts, but once again, never got a cut. So it's a tough road. So I want you to be the song screening publisher today. And we're going to go through these songs and we're going to tear them apart. We're going to see if the songs are well crafted. We're going to look at song structure. We're going to look at lyrics. We're also going to look at the production values. Does it sound like it was recorded in a basement by 3 blind mice? Or does it sound like it was a professional team of musicians that are really good at their craft? We're going to start with what I think is the country song. We'll call the singer Garth, and I want you to ask yourself when you're listening to it, can Garth sing? Does he sound country or does he sound in the genre that you think he is? Okay, how about the music? How does it sound? Does it sound like it's well recorded? Let's do this.
I had a dream last night. Servers buzzing and the screen was bright. Could see Twitch chat screaming out my name. Everything I hoped it'd be. Rocking the world from my PC. And now it seems like things won't ever be the same. Skinning Fortnite dancing, I'm shredding on a crypto guitar. Oh man, forget the studio, only need a studio. Oh, it's a little bizarre. Whoa, now I'm an AI rock star.
Okay, so what do you think? Does it sound like country? Now, I think this sounds like country. And how long does it take? I think from just a few notes of the intro on the fiddle, that's enough, and you know it's country. How about the singer? Do they sound like they can sing country? And I think the answer is absolutely. How about the lyric? Now, from everything I know about country music and the publishers I've talked with and learned from, this would be considered a novelty tune. It's not mainstream country lyrics. The music is absolutely mainstream country. Got a young country voice too. But it would be a novelty song. Doesn't mean it would be out of the realm of being taken and possibly getting a cut, because AI is a ripe subject right now, and why shouldn't country take a swing at it? So the music sounds really good. It sounds right in the pocket for country. And from pitching to a lot of publishers, I mean, I had to learn along the way. And the last thing you want is for a publisher to listen to a verse and a chorus, stop the tape, CD or MP3 or whatever they're playing, look up and ask you, what genre is this that you're pitching to? If they have to ask that, you've kind of missed it. If they realize it's country, then good. Or if they know it's country, that's good. So Let's move on to the second verse. And the AI does a really good job here. It does a slight rework of the melody from verse 1, starting with verse 2, to add a little bit more punch. And the delivery also is given with a little bit more punch. So listen to that. And that is really good. And that's standard, really good crafting of a song and delivery of the vocals.
So I've got a new life, divorced my chatbot wife, changed my profile picture to my favorite NFT. Got all the Twitter groupies driving me loopy. Pussy in bio ain't all it's cracked up to be. Whoa, no. Whoa, now I'm an AI rock star, Cowboy Marlon Manson.
Okay, so there's a lot going on here. There's a few things that just bug me, and then there's some things that are really good. The punch that is added by changing the melody of the lyrics on the second verse, that's really good crafting there. And so the AI gets it and does that. We even have kind of pre-choruses on both the first verse and the second verse after those verses, that with the the ooh ah type thing that's going on before it actually goes into the chorus. But there's something funky going on with the vocals here. And I don't know if it was going for the transducer sound and just didn't nail it, or if it is just something just a bit weird. Now you notice the audio drops out in a few places on this song when I'm playing it. And that's because there's profanity, and I'm just removing that to keep it PG. But listen to the texture of the vocal here on our lead singer. It changes.
In loopy, pussy in bio ain't all it's cracked up to be.
So it goes very nasally and then goes back to having that soft country vocal. And I don't know if that would be just a musical choice that it chose, but it just seems that it's an artifact and it's wrong and it made a mistake. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Let's go ahead and let it continue to play. And we have another lead voice coming in a minute. And I want you to ask yourself, can this person sing? We'll call this person Kara. Can Kara sing? Does she sound country? Does she fit into the song?
Whoa, no. Whoa, now I'm an AI rock star, Cowboy Marlon Manson, Orange Justice dancing. I'm shredding on a crypto guitar.
Oh, forget the studio, blowing up on Nudio. Oh, it'll be so.
So what do you think of Kara? Can Kara sing? I think Kara can sing. She's marquee, country, female voice. She sounds really, really good. And it fits with the song, and it adds that little bit of keeping the whole song fresh, If you're a songwriter, you know exactly what I mean. We're all writing about the same 7 things, and what we're trying to do is just deliver them in a different, fresh way, so it sounds new. Like, some of the Diane Warren music, like "Unbreak My Heart." That's great, and every song that had been written before that was about getting your heart broken, and then she came up with "Unbreak My Heart." I mean, that was pure genius. So this female singer sounds really good. The female singer sounds really good, and I think she really fits. Now, one thing you don't necessarily get in a lot of pop music is a bridge these days, but we get a bridge here, and the AI kind of nails it again. It messes up on the lyric, and I want to talk about that as we go through it.
Now I'm an AI rock star, So where they gonna put my star on the walk of fame? Between Hatsune Miku and a Kurt Cobain.
Hatsumo Mookie and Kurt Cobain. Okay, hopefully I'm saying the first name right. Now, what that is that's a character that's associated with a voice from a Yamaha product called Vocaloid. It's an expensive product, and it's a kind of an AI voice. And it sounds synthetic, or it can sound synthetic. And you've probably heard it a million times if you've watched other videos on YouTube. A lot of people use canned music, and there's a lot of Vocaloid content in those tunes. So the lyric here is wrong. Between Hatsumo Muki, that's fine. You're talking about an AI character, and my star is going to be between this person, her, and Kurt Cobain. I think Kurt Cobain is the wrong choice, and I don't think any country songwriter would have chosen Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain is, or was, the lead singer for Nirvana, which is grunge music from the 90s. What you should be picking here is a country music star. Somebody that's mainstream country music, and probably somebody right now, somebody that's really famous, male or female. And that would have been appropriate. So the AI slips up here. And it's just because it doesn't know. It knows Kurt Cobain is famous, and it rhymes. And so it chose that name. And it said, yeah, use that person. That person's famous. But for country music, it wouldn't be appropriate. Not everybody's going to know who Kurt Cobain is. But, you know I'm dating myself, but everybody knows who Dolly Parton is. Everybody knows who Kenny Rogers is, or Diamond Rio, or Garth Brooks. So, that would have been a better choice. Let's let it go on a little further.
Oh wow, I didn't know that I'm late for the show. Quick, let me stick on my Apple Vision.
Okay, I think this is another mistake by the AI. Let me stick on my Apple Vision. So if I'm right about this, Apple Vision is essentially a VR headset. And so you'd put on an Apple headset. I know they're looking for more dynamic language than put on, but you could say throw on. I think stick on doesn't really work very well. I think that's another failure of the AI for crafting good lyrics here in this particular song. Okay, so that's kind of the end of the song, but it's not the end of our analysis. One thing I find about this music, and it's one reason why when you stem split a song like this, you don't get really definitive stems for it. What I'm talking about here is music is generally recorded on multi-track, either multi-track tape or a multi-track like a digital audio workstation. So we can think of all of those tracks as individual stems. You have a lead vocal, you have backup vocals, you have guitars and drums and bass and whatnot. And so a stem splitter basically separates those parts from a mix and puts them back into those individual components. And it can do a fairly decent job. The thing about this AI music is if you listen to it, it's very blended. It's not just mixed, it's blended. And that's because it didn't start its life with, say, 24 tracks that were mixed by a mixing engineer to get the right levels and play with the EQ so everything fits correctly in the mix and pan it correctly. It's just ones and zeros being spewed out in a stream to create this music, and it's amazing to listen to. But there are some anomalies. And the best way to describe this blending, the way I would describe it is this. I have some juice back here, and this is what I like. And this is orange juice and cran raspberry juice and a little bit of fuzzy water. But I could also put grapefruit juice, lemon juice in there, and I could hand it to you, and you could sip on it and say, I could ask you, what do you think? And you might say, well, it's fruity, I like it. I say, well, what kind of juice is it? And you go, well, I don't know. Because that's kind of how this music is. It's so blended, it's really hard to hear any definition. We can hear the fiddle at the beginning. There's times when some of the music pops out. And you can go find this song. It's on Udio, U-D-I-O, and listen to it in even more detail. There's pedal steel on there, but there's not really the crying pedal steel that you might have expected where they're bending the notes. There's a few pings here and there, and it just sounds a little weird for country music. Not bad. It's all in tune, and it follows the progression, and everything is fine from that perspective. But it just sounds a little unnatural. And the way it's all blended together, I can't hear the bass guitar. I can hear the guitars every once in a while. They pop out. Some of the instruments pop out, like the mini walk down at the end of the chorus before we kind of get that basic turnaround and go back into the next verse. But there's not a lot of definition on the instrumentation. It's just so blended. At this point, I'm going to close this one and I'm going to load up the next one, which is a dance tune. And what I want you to do is kind of listen for the same things that we've been talking about here, about the country tune. Does this one sound blended? What about the singer? Does the singer sound like she can sing? And we'll call this singer Melody. And can Melody sing? And does she sound like she has the right voice for pop dance? Or does she sound like she should be doing country music or hip hop? So listen to all that, and then also listen to the song construction and see what you think. Okay, so what do you think? Does it sound like pop dance or dance music? I'm calling it pop dance, but maybe you just call it house or dance. I think it's in that genre. I think it's probably a little dated sounding. It might have been something that Debbie Gibson might have done in the 80s. Not something Madonna would have done, but Debbie Gibson might have done something like this. It's kind of bubblegum pop dance. I think both of these songs sound good. They're both entertaining. I like listening to them. I like the melodies. I can follow along with the melodies. She can sing. She sounds pretty good. And it doesn't take very long before I know exactly that the song is dance pop. Let's go into the second verse and the second chorus. And it's a good idea now to start listening to the lyric. There are a lot of problems, in my opinion, with the lyrics in this song. And it's not the subject matter. AI is fine for this because it's dance. It's less fine, I think, for country, but here it works. Let's listen.
AI for driving, AI for thriving, AI for striving, and GI arriving. AI for cooking, see what I'm doing. AI makes videos, soon we're inseparable. Oh AI, do you promise you'll be kind to us? Won't just throw us under the bus? AI, hoping for a world where we all fly high. Oh AI, do you promise you'll be kind to us? Won't just throw us under the bus? AI, hoping for a world where we all fly high.
Okay, so here we have the second verse comes in. There's no rework of the melody. The second verse comes in, and it's essentially the first verse again, just with some new lyrics. that doesn't give it a lot of punch. And so in my opinion, the country song is just so much better crafted than this pop dance tune. Though this is right in the genre, it sounds good. I think if you played it at a club, people would dance. It's got a good beat, it's up tempo, and it fits that. The song structure's right too. We get an intro, then we get a verse and a chorus. We just had a second verse, and then we get a double chorus, and then it goes into an instrumental. And I'll just play you a little bit of that. And here it does do what you'd expect it to do. The AI is smart about this. It does a reworking of the main melody that we hear in the intro. It just varies it a little bit. What I want you to listen to now is when it comes out of this instrumental here and it goes into the third verse, it does a cappella. And I think this really works well, and they should have actually done something new for the second verse to just give it a little bit more punch. Now, when people are just dancing in a club, it's not such a big deal, but if you're in your car and you're listening to it, you need a lot of fresh information hitting you. And if you're a young person, even if you're not, you know the attention span of young people is the attention span of a gnat. So things have to change, and they have to change quickly. So listen for that a cappella and then see, what do you think? I think it fits really well.
AI for dreaming, but are we seeing? AI is keeping humanity believing. AI for thinking, see what I'm fearing. AI is reality now, we're inseparable. Oh AI, do you promise you'll be kind to us?
Okay, so I think the a cappella works. It sounds really good and it adds some variety. Something a little bit different on this chorus, the backup vocals now are very synthetic, and they weren't before. So listen to those backup vocals again. They sound very synthetic. On a country song, this wouldn't work. You just couldn't have synthetic vocals like that. You get away with it once. Maybe if you're a huge star, you can get away with it, but not if you're just an up-and-comer. It's just, nobody's going to accept that. Here it works. It works because it's dance pop, vocoding, synths in general, and synth vocals. What does it matter? It's a beat, thub, 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 and just, it works. It's got good melody, it's got a good beat. We get our third verse here, and we get a double chorus, which is good because we want to dance. And then what we do is we get another instrumental. And this time, instead of being 4 bars, it's 8 bars. It's twice as long. And then after that, it goes back into the main hook melody that we heard right at the beginning of the song. So they bring it all back around. Another thing is, if you remember the kind of the mini break before the a cappella at the start of the third verse, they actually use that to end the song and give it a button ending. Bump, bump, bump. You're going to hear that right at the end again. It repeats it. And in a way, that's good songwriting. That's concrete writing. You give people hooks to hold on to. They've heard that before, and maybe it's not new here, but it's only a few beats, so it's not hugely repetitive. And so that's going to be how it ends the song, ends it with a button ending. So what I'm going to do is skip forward to those 8 bars at the end of the song, just before it goes back into the original melody. And that works really well. Yeah, so I like this song. It's well constructed, it sounds good, and it's fun to listen to. Is it easy to determine that it's AI? And I think the answer is yes. And I'm not done with it. There are a lot of problems with the lyrics, and it's mostly in the rhyming. There's tons and tons of soft rhymes in this. Rhyming is not essential or mandatory for songwriting, but generally people want there to be rhyming. You know, roses are red, violets are blue. Some poems rhyme, but this one don't. A lot of people aren't really going to like that. And when you put music with it, you really want it to rhyme. Very strong melodies can get away with occasionally not rhyming. But if you have a lot of it, it becomes old. Also, there are so many soft rhymes. So we're going to go back and listen to the intro, verse 1. So we'll go back to verse 1, which starts right here. And I want you to listen to what they're rhyming with. Painting, baking. Listen to those.
AI for writing, AI for painting, AI for baking, AI for dating.
So painting and dating, they're rhyming, okay? Because we have a couplet there, right? And so they're rhyming. And just because a word ends in ing doesn't make it a rhyme. Working and using both end in ing, but they don't rhyme. Looking and cooking both end in ing, but they also rhyme. And there are a lot of soft rhymes in here. Some people would call that lazy songwriting. Other people might say, oh, who the hell cares? It's a dance tune. Nobody's listening to the lyrics or cares what the lyrics are saying. But I think that's something to think about. Also, in the first verse, they're talking about painting, dating, and baking. Later on in another verse, she talks about cooking. Well, baking is just a subset of cooking. So it's really not a fresh lyric. It's not advancing the story. Now, unlike country music, which is very story-based, pop music doesn't have to be, and especially dance pop. Nobody is listening, perhaps, to the lyrics. But it doesn't mean you can't craft a good song. And I think the lyrics are a little sloppy. The profanity in the first song, I think it's unnecessary. You know, it's not that I'm a prude, it's just I try to target my songs to an audience that it's going to be safe for advertisers to put their advertising in. And if there's a lot of profanity, they usually don't want to do that. So that's why I'm blanking those out. The music here is also very blended. Now, for pop, that's almost par for the course. If you can hear just the beat going and there's some kind of melody going along with it or changing chord pattern on some kind of synth pad, maybe that's enough and the melody's really covered by the vocalist. But it's another very highly blended song. I was talking with somebody last night. Hi, Michael. I'm going to use what you said, and this was what I was thinking too. The thing about AI songs is They're trained on thousands or hundreds, maybe even millions of MP3s. And what it seems like they do a lot is aggregate. What they say is, okay, this is all the music in the country realm. And then they try to come up with basically a mathematical average of that. These songs are highly generic. You know, the lyrics are the only thing that make them a little bit interesting to me, other than some pretty good melody, but it's not marquee. I don't think anybody's going to listen to this and say, oh, that's the best melody I've ever heard. It sounds very generic, like every other pop dance tune you've ever heard. The country song, as well crafted as it is, that it fits into the country realm perfectly, I think. And a lot of people, even people that have been writing country for a long time, have a hard time hitting that and making their music sound country and maybe not pop or just melancholy. You know, the AI does a really good job at that. But the country song it could be any country song. It's enjoyable, but possibly instantly forgettable. Though I guess I've heard these so much in the last couple of days, listening to them and just pulling them apart in my head and deciding what I was going to talk about here. They're a little bit like an earworm, and I find myself kind of singing them and humming them now. I've been infected by the virus. So where is all this going? If you're not aware, Vocaloid, which is a very expensive product by Yamaha, which has these singing voices, that's been out for a while. But there are AI voices out now that sound as organic as these voices do. These voices, to me, sound a little bit blended or smooth or something. There's something about the texture of them that isn't quite right, but sounds fine. But there are companies out there now that you can actually use their servers. You download a kind of an add-in that goes into your digital audio workstation, or you run it standalone. You have it basically sing your song. You pull in like a stereo pair from your song, and then you can have the AI sing your song. It's not as easy as just say, sing these lyrics and do it the way I want it. You have to, you know, put in the notes on the lines usually. If you've used a product like Waves Auto Tune or practically any of the audio tunes where they allow you to draw on the notes and do the pitch kind of scooping down or scooping up, I should say falling down and scooping up, then you won't have any trouble using those products. And unlike Vocaloid, they sound really good. And they sound organic like this. Beyond this, it's just a matter of time before powered by AI appears on everything. Toasters, microwave ovens, cars, keyboards. I don't know if this is in your view. This is my Kronos, and sitting right to the left of the screen, inside the machine, is a micro ATX motherboard. It's essentially already a PC computer. It has an Intel processor. And, you know, developing AI for it wouldn't be that hard. And one day it's going to be on every DAW, Pro Tools, Logic. It's going to be in all of them. You're going to write your own MIDI drum line and maybe your bass line, and maybe have a friend come over, play some guitar and all of that. And then you're going to feed those lines to the AI and say, make them better. And it will just rewrite them for you. Or you can just skip to the end and use a product like Udio. Go there, type in a few lines of text, give me the saddest song sung by a female singer in the pop realm, crying over her lost love with a solo piano, and it will crank you out something in the style of Adele, and you could even say Adele, and it'll do that. The thing is, those songs are not sellable. I'm not saying people aren't trying to sell them. I'm just saying legally they're not saleable, because They're all based on derivative content of loading in all those MP3s, and so there's been lawsuits about that. But nothing says that you couldn't create a song on Udio, massage it by saying, no, change this lyric, change that lyric. You can even ask it to sing your own lyrics. And then you can keep doing new iterations of it and get it closer and closer to what you want. Training AI is like training your dragon, you know, it gets you closer and closer. And then what you could do is you could spew out that stereo file, bring it into your DAW, stem split it, write your own parts to it, re-sing it, and then maybe it's yours, but I don't know. This is coming. It's just a little bit away, I think. Part of it is that you need a lot of power in the CPU and you need a lot of memory. And the programs that I was telling you about that can sing your songs for you, no longer do you have to hire somebody over the internet. I used to know somebody that used to do that. They would write the music, but they weren't a singer. And then they would send this person a stereo pair, this male singer they knew, and then they would sing and do some backups and send them back some of these stems, and they would incorporate it into their song. And it's really good stuff. But now you don't have to do that. You can use these programs online, but it requires an internet connection because it's contacting their servers in real time. They're not allowing you to download their AI large language model. They don't want to give you access to that. It's going to happen eventually. Eventually, we're all going to have an AI at our house, and it'll do different things for us. In the future, in the probably not that too distant future, if you want to hear something, you'll just say, play me 10 songs that sound like Garth Brooks, if you like Garth Brooks, but aren't Garth Brooks. And it would start playing, and you say, no, make it up tempo. And it starts going, you go, that's better. And can you add a fiddle? Okay, add some mandolin. And it'll just do it on the fly. That's coming. It's just a matter of time. It truly is. And same thing with video. You'll go to your version of Netflix, whatever it is, and you'll say, analyze Star Wars episodes 1 through 9. I know they haven't made an episode 10, but make me one on the fly right now and let me watch it. And it'll do it. And it'll be amazing. And you won't have 1,000 artists that they need to rotoscope all those lightsabers. I've done rotoscoping on lightsabers, and it takes hours, days and hours. Anyway, genie's out of the bottle. We're never going to get her back in the bottle. That's AI. And it's either a benefit or a hazard. And I think for music production, you can use as little of it or as much of it as you want. You can go to Udio and just type in a few paragraphs, and it'll write you a whole song. And then you can give it some more information and have it change a few words if you don't think it crafted the lyrics very well. It's a brave new world. Is it going to put people out of business? Absolutely. Is it going to put musicians out of business? The Writers Guild, I think some of those members, or all of them, went on strike some years back. You may remember that, because they thought AI was going to come in and start writing screenplays for TV shows and films. They can already do that. That's incredibly easy stuff for an AI to do. And you can have one person guiding it, and instead of taking, days or weeks to write a screenplay, you can do it in hours. The thing about AI is it does make mistakes, and you've probably heard about that on the news. I could ask it to make me a cocktail like this thing back here, and it thinks, maybe I should put a burnt almond flavor in there, so it puts in a little bit of cyanide. You got to train your AI so that it gets smarter and it does what you want it to do. And these AIs are only going to get smarter. They're already basically as smart as us or smarter than us. And that's going to keep on going. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate your time. You can tell me in the comments, did you think these songs were crap? Did you think they were really good? Did you think that you would be able to tell that they're AI just by listening to them? How would you feel about buying AI artist created music on something like, say, iTunes, instead of 99 cents a tune, it was 3 cents a tune. Because if you have enough computing power, you can press a button and you can crank up 10,000 songs in 10 seconds if you have enough powerful computers to do it for you, or servers. Anyway, take care. I'll be back in another episode soon if they haven't replaced my channel with an AI.